Top of the day, beautiful people. Cameron, shalom, shalom. All right, y'all. Happy Wednesday. Sorry, this is Wi-Fi here. I had to connect my laptop to my phone. It was going like in and out before I even started. So if it goes out, I think Facebook will be fine, but YouTube may have to jump on over to Facebook. And let me just, I think it's going to be fine because I got to connect it to my phone. I don't anticipate it coming off of my phone, but just in case, let me just go ahead and give y'all the link to the Facebook page so y'all can just jump over here if it does start acting crazy on YouTube, y'all. All right, so let's go back here, jump to Facebook if it starts acting. Okay, there you go. Levon blessings, Sawubona, Yaya, Yibo Sawubona, Alicia, Ya, Salama. Okay, y'all, so let's get started. It is Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, everybody. It is June the 22nd, 2022, day 139 of year 4 of reading through the books of the Law of the Prophets, another 4-year consecutive day count, day 1157. Today we're picking back up in the book of God's Word on page 174. And that's all we're going to be reading today. We're going to take the whole hour and read through here. Did y'all get a chance to, did y'all do any kind of reading ahead? Shayla, great rising. If y'all go to the book of divinity, it is amazing. It gives you detailed descriptions of what Ashars do, what Asaph do, or what Lewis's do. Lewis, we read about Lewis quite a few times in here. Loo apostrophe is, and those are masters of generations. It's interesting. Me and my son was having a conversation about the different ones, and he said before I even gave the description of what a Lewis was, he said the Lewis sound like they do like generational things because they're the ones who, matter of fact, they serve a term of 200 years, and they are assigned to women who are pregnant and about to give birth. And what they do, they record the circumstances of the child's birth, what the mother did during the child's birth. And then once that child is born, they follow them up. They follow them through their entire life until they actually get pregnant or have children. And they do the same thing. They record the circumstances of the parent's life at that point, during the pregnancy, what the circumstances around the child when the child was born, and when the child grows up. And then at that point, so also you get like a couple different, let's say, guardian angels during your lifetime. You get some when you're born. I said some, but it just depends on how many you have with you based on what circumstances are, right? But when you get married, there is another set that's with you along with your guardian angels, the one with your spouse and yourself when you get married. And it talks about how you enter into a whole different type of education on the earth. And those angels that have been given to you and your spouse during the marriage, they're to minister to you just like they would minister to those who ran the kingdom. Because it said this is like a smaller, I'm putting my own words, a marriage is like a smaller picture of running a whole kingdom. And they literally record everything that's being done and everything that happens during that marriage, how you interact, how you raise your family, all those different things about your family, all of that is recorded. And you get checks for you or tick marks against you for how you conducted your kingdom. They literally call families like literal mini kingdoms within bigger kingdoms within a bigger kingdom within a bigger kingdom of the great creator. Y'all, the book of divinity is absolutely amazing. But that is just, it gives you like birth rights, marriage rights, death rights, all of those different things. Y'all have got to read ahead and go to that. Matter of fact, it's on page and I didn't finish what I was saying, what my son had said. Before I had actually given him a definition of what a Lewis did and how long a term for Lewis was. He said it sounded like they do generational things, and I just looked at him. I said, that's literally almost what the title is. They're masters of generations because they're assigned to you and generations after you, following the child and what they're supposed to be doing, and also what women do. The circumstances that they're in really does determine how that child is born and what circumstances about that child's life is put into play. It's y'all gotta read. It's really, really interesting. Hold on. Matter of fact, after we finish reading the book of God's word, we start the book of divinity, which is still like another couple weeks. But if y'all get time, yep, book of God's word. We're on page 147. So once we get through that, the book of God's word doesn't go all the way to like page 237. But the book of Fragapati goes to through 237. We already read there. I think the book of God's word goes to page like 180 or something like that. Then at the end of that, we jump back to page 237 because it's the next section after this section. Page 237, that's the book of divinity. But look, I'm telling y'all, go read ahead. Okay, so let's jump back. It is so interesting. And while I'm putting together my chart of the different, well, the hierarchy chart that I did, I'm going to fill that out a little bit more because as I was going through it, there is definitely, especially like the S's, Essenes, all those different like lower ones is not on that chart, and I'm gonna add it, but I'm gonna also add like the definitions. I know the book of divinity is full of it, but I'm gonna just try and sum it up for each one. Otherwise I just copy the whole book of divinity and paste it, but that ain't gonna fit. But for those of you that have it, go there. Right, the chapter two first chapter and a half is like the intro of everything, and then it starts getting into it and the ashars and who hands who off to who and how long you spend here. And once you're here, when the souls are, it tells you who is stationed in hospitals, who is stationed in schools, like after you pass away from here, and what you learn and what you're supposed to do. And as you go up in rank, where you're put, y'all just gotta go to it. I can talk about it all day. I was literally in it to literally like 1 o'clock this morning. I was just up, I literally read the entire book of divinity. It's only 18 chapters, but it is so good. I read all 18 chapters last night and it's all highlighted up. Okay, but back to today's reading, page 174. All right, chapter 14. Asha, king of Oahspe, the city of the sun, king of the sun, ruler over the whole corporal world, owner and possessor of all mortals, men, women, and children, commander of all flesh, descended from the sun gods thousands of years, and whose forefathers were the fathers of all living creatures, highest of men, and by whose good grace the inhabitants of the earth are permitted to live, and whose decrees are the standard of all things, maker of justice and maker of truth, in whom none dare to question, and on whose word the sun and moon and stars bow down. Greeting. That was a whole intro. On behalf of all this, greeting. To the kings and queens of the east and west, and north and south, over all the cities in the world, rulers in the temples of the stars, observatories, slayers of dragons, and slayers of lions, and slayers of tigers, and men and women, and men, I'm sorry, and of men and of women and of children and serpents, honored in the Golgothas, and by millions of cowering slaves, owners of thousands of wives, and whose boats sail in lakes of mortal blood, and whose crowns are honored by 10,000 men slain every year, sworn on the flesh of the thigh, whose words are life and death, and most obedient to the Sun King, I command. Okay, so before we go further with what he commanded, we got to look up two references, I and J. So after honored in Golgotha, in the honor in the Golgothas, you have reference letter I. which, oh, okay, Book of God's Word ends on page 216. Okay, so for reference letter I for Golgothas, it says Golgothas, Golgothas, Golgothas are temples made of skulls and teeth, 1882 edition. Okay, and jump back over here. Sworn on the flesh of the thigh, reference letter J after thigh, and it says, see Balgan God, Book of Safa. This shows that the forms of the ceremonies live long after the belief in them. 1882 edition. Okay, verse 3. First, there is an Ormazd, creator person, whose soul is in all the world and in all things in the firmament above, who is Father, who is the light of light, creator of darkness and men, who is forever the going forth. Remember, Ormazd is another name for the great creator, for the great spirit, who we still call Yah, some of us, right? Who is the going forth, who is cause of causes, larger than all things seen and unseen, the power of all power. Second, Yahuwah Mazda, his only begotten Son, born of the Virgin me, and after me is the substance seen, pure and holy, master of men, person of word, essence of Ormazd revealed in word, savior of men, holder of the keys of heaven, through whose good grace only the souls of men can rise to nirvana, the high heaven. Third, Zarathustra, a man, all pure, conceived by a virgin, and born wise, being one with Yahuwah Mazda, who is one with Ormazd, of whom the word saith, doeth he without miracle, the raising of the dead, healing the sick by the laying on of hands, whose word of command bringeth forth ripe wheat, full grown in a day, and doing all things that the ancients accredited to the gods as miracles, but which the Ormazdian law showeth to be natural law to anyone who is all pure, and who draweth power from Ormazd, the Creator, and his holy angels. Fourth, a book holy and sacred, revealed by Yahuwah Mazda to Zarathustra, the all pure, and written on stone and cloth, revealing all wisdom, which is styled the Ormazdian law, the Yahuwah Mazdian law, the Zarathustrian law, which is the all highest law in all the world, approved by Asha, I, the King of Kings. Fifth, by 10,000 learned scribes in my command, a written copy of the holy book, and herewith sent with commands by the King of the Sun, that this book shall be the all highest law in my sub kingdoms, and that all my kings shall believe it and command the same of their slaves, and not the slaves that have subjects. Nor shall any man stand up against this, my decree, and live, nor shall any man alter one word or sign in this holy book, nor disbelieve one word it containeth. And my kings and sub kings, and my queens and sub queens shall obey all the commandments, even as I obey them. Nor shall any man or woman or child question these things as to whether they be the all highest, or whether there be error in whatsoever cometh from my hand. For by my decree they are made all true. For I was raised up to the highest estate by Ormazd for this purpose, and not one in the whole world hath power like unto me. And ye, to whom these holy words come, shall make an oath on a serpent and a sword to obey these, my commandments, now and forever. Thus did Asha send officers to carry the books he had made to the kings and queens in the east and west and north and south, and they that he sent were men of great learning and of the highest caste, and they took with them serpents and swords, and gave them as commanded, exacting an oath from all who received them. Chapter 15. The land of brown, shalom, shalom. Great Spirit, thank you, Great Spirit Jehovah, for your truth and peace. Blessings to you too. Chapter 15. When Asha the king had thus completed the labor of making the books and sending them as commanded by Yahuwah Mazda, he sent for Zarathustra and for further counsel as to how he should abdicate the throne according to the highest light. And when Ahura Mazda was before him, even before Zarathustra had yet come, Asha said, Here cometh that quickened thought again. Behold, I sent for Zarathustra in order to ask certain questions, and lo, my heart answereth me. Rita, good morning. Shalom. Yea, I have nothing to do with what is not my own. Now, whilst he thus framed his own answer, Zarathustra came and said unto him, Thou desirest to counsel in regard to abdicating my throne? Behold, thou counsel, I'm sorry, behold, thou, Ahura Mazda, hath been to thee even now, saying, What hast thou to do with that which is not thy own? Asha said, I have heretofore said that speaketh to my heart. What is it? Now, according to thy wisdom, that speaketh to my heart is Yahuwah Mazda. How shall one know it to be so? Zarathustra said, If a man asks the All Light in reference to his own affairs and for his own concerns, then receiveth he an answer from the tetracts. But if he asks the All Light in reference to what he shall do for others, to render the highest good unto them, then is the answer from Yahuwah Mazda. I declare unto thee, O Asha, he is a dark man indeed, to whom the Creator speaketh not every day. Asha said, What then shall I do in a matter like this? As yet all the world belongeth to me. Presently shall I deliver it to itself? Shall I not provide a ruler for them? Zarathustra said, Why then thou wilt be bound to give them one as good and as wise as thyself? Otherwise thou wilt cheat them. Furthermore, doth not the Omazdian law say, Thou shalt not have any king but thy creator? Remember Asha, he's about to go live with the poor and the beggars for about a year, right? This is a part of the law for those who become like in rulership positions. Furthermore, doth not the Omazdian law say, Thou shalt not have any king but thy creator? Oh, I just thought about something when I said that. Hold on. Okay. I'll bring that back up later. Asha said, I so perceive. What then shall I go away? Say nothing? Then answered Ahuimaz, saying, Thou shalt do more than this. For thou shalt give liberty to all men, and proclaim unto them, commanding that they shall obey the doctrines of the holy book, serving no master but the Creator. And when the people are completely broken up by thy decree, thou shalt go thy way, leaving thy throne and thy capital to whatsoever may come to them. Asha said, I perceive. That which hath been given to me, that which hath been given me to do, I will do. Behold, I will bestow freedom on all the world, and with my alms bowl go about begging. Heaven must be just, and it is right that I should have the experience of the poor as well as the rich. How else would I ever become sufficiently wise to be a God in heaven? And it's just talking about again what I had thought about, what I said I'll talk about later. I just thought about how in different phases of life, sometimes people who have it all, then they lose it all. And for a period of time, it's like they're a rock bottom. All of that is a part of the process. All of this is a part of the process, right? And you have to learn how to be content, like Paul said. I'm not much a big quote on Paul these days, although he used to be my dude, right? Till I found out about the shenanigans he was pulling. But like he said, you got to learn how to be content in whatsoever state you're in, like we talked about the other day, right? Okay, listen. I read this again. Asha said, I perceive that which hath been given to me to do, I will do. Behold, I will bestow freedom on all the world, and with my alms bowl go about begging. Heaven must be just, and it is right that I should have the experience of the poor as well as of the rich. How else would I ever become sufficiently wise to be a God in heaven, right? You got to be able to see everything from just about every perspective, like you really do, in order to be a good, in order to be a good ruler. y'all. And also, not only did I read through all of the Book of Divinity yesterday, but I also read through the last chapter, the book of it's the very last book in what is it called? I'm sorry, but y'all got to go read that too. Uh, the book of Oran or Oranothan. I was saying it all wrong yesterday too. Oranothan. That's how you pronounce it. But apparently, I told you I need to find out who is currently ruling, right? So I'm searching through all this, skipping ahead, reading through stuff, trying to put the things together, studying this cosmology chart and the cosmon area and the different ones. Like if you go, hold on, hold on. Let me mark my spot. I'll just come back here to 7. I'll read this again. Okay, so the what is it? The mark this page for this chart, y'all. Y'all gotta go study this chart because I need y'all help. What is that doggone chart? Let's see if I can just see it. Hold on, we're flipping. You know the chart where it gives the era like cosmon, the different eras within it. What is the name of that chart? I was studying yesterday. I kind of understand a little bit, but I know. Okay, so for each like era, like cosmon era, within cosmon there are there are like 4 cycles. But in each of those 4 cycles within, I gotta find it. Hold on, because I haven't started talking about it. Hold on. Trying to tell you, I brought all that up to tell y'all where we at. Is it the synopsis of 16 cycles? Oh, wait, it gotta be one of the plates, I think. Grand Rising, Jen. It's the hold on. What is that chart? I was in it. I can't find it. We didn't already. It's showing the different time periods, y'all. I gotta show y'all something. I think I'm just looking too fast over the where I can't find the chart. But anyway, it break out the whole time period of what Earth or planet goes through, and it has cosmon in there, and it shows you how we're in the cosmon era, and within the cosmon era, each era is 72,000 years, and under and it gives a further breakdown of the cosmon era, and it's like, okay, so in the cosmon there's like 4 ticks, and each of the 4 ticks are was it 4? No, it's 7 of them. 7? No, I'm sorry, 6. And each one is like 12,000. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 4, 6. Yeah. So under that, it's like 6 ticks, and each of the ticks or the eras is amounts to 12,000 years. Then it goes down a little bit further, and it gives you the breakdown of each block of 12,000 years. And each block of 12,000 years has like the next section is like a subsection with 4 blocks, and each of those 4 blocks are like 3,000 years. Then it further breaks down those 3,000 years, and it's called something else. And each of those are like the Dan Haas, or it's like Dan's and Dan Haas, but each of those are 35 years. So the whole chart is going down to show you where we are today. And it breaks it down to what era we began. We began the Cosmine era in like 1882, I think it was. I think that's what it said. We began the Cosmine era in 1882. So from 1882 to now to 2022, I think there was 174, 176 years. But we're in that, if you follow that down, then follow it back up, we can see that we're at the very beginning of the Cosmine era. Y'all, that's gonna pluck my nerves. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna post it today, y'all. Hold on. Okay, where is the book of Oranothan, which is also called Light from Heaven, right? So going back, studying that chart, the cycles. Okay, hold on. Is it the synopsis of 16 cycles? Page 54. No, that's explaining. Where's the chart? But anyway, y'all know a chart because I showed it to y'all. I'm gonna have to find it. But anyway, just reading through that, it tells us exactly where we're at. So now that I know exactly where we're at, I'm trying to calculate exactly who has been placed over where based on the names and stuff that I've given, right? So I'm trying to get like my prayers like extra specific. So I know those that bring the souls of the dead, newly dead, and newly dead is like you've been dead like you just died, like 0 years to about 5 years, but it could also be those spirits who have not progressed um, past the lower heavens, who are druges, who have been caught, right? And they've been put back in their right mind, and now they got to be taught over. So those also, and they could have been lingering around from like 200, 500 to like 1,000 years. But newly dead is considered like those who literally just passed from the flesh, but also those who are like still lingering down in darkness. When they get restored and back in their right mind, they're still considered like newly dead, because now once they're back in their right mind, they're pulled up from that lowest state. They can continue their growing, right? So they are still considered newly dead. So those ones, like when the got that, okay, the Asaph state, the Ashars who are considered guardian angels. The Ashars are the ones who receive the spirits of the dead, but they're also the ones in certain regions, wherever you're at, they're different all over the place, right? But for those who are reading like the Oahspe out loud, the Ashars are the ones who bring the spirits of the newly dead while they're still in their care. If there's somebody reading, they will bring them into the presence of the reading, right? You remember that from the other day and through here? Right, okay. Also, bruh, look, it's so much that I found out when you read through the book of divinity. I know we ain't even reading that, but I'm gonna probably tell y'all again, but I'm super excited. I got one of my questions answered while I was reading through the book of divinity about baptism, right? So it talks about baptism and what happens during that time, and that goes like with the birth rites. And at the baptism, there is a new guardian angel given to the child. So remember, it's been at least a couple years now since I shared this. Remember how I told you we had got on the fritz with the church? Not really, we just kind of left because we were sick of the foolishness, right? But our smallest children, like Bella, has never been inside a church unless like when we went to like my grandmother's uh homegoing celebration, right? But the smallest ones, they were already born, and we was already like just about out the door with the church, because just like all the foolishness, like, you know what, if it's gonna be foolishness, it ain't gonna be everybody else foolishness, it'll be our own, but not adding everybody else foolishness on top of the religion. We can't do this, right? So they never really, they haven't been too religiousized, right? Now, my two older ones, Elijah and Jeremiah, Elijah 25, Jeremiah's 19, they've been there from like day one. So they've seen all the different cycles. But anyway, after we had left out the church, Francis, Shalom, Trina, hey girl, hey. After we left out the church, and as we was like, you know what, Father, we're really searching for you. It's like we hear too many lies, different places, and we just want to do this the right way. And so all the different things that I heard was pagan. We ain't do this, we ain't doing this, we ain't doing that. I ain't read this, I ain't seen this in the Old Testament. All these things we're working through, right? But about baptism, I was like, okay, so I knew what baptism was and how they teach it in Christianity, and the sprinkling of the child. Like it addresses all that, even the sprinkling of the child in here in the Oahspe, right? I was like, I don't really see that there's an issue with that, right? I wasn't really getting on who you baptize in the name of, not all that, but I wasn't necessarily against baptism, right? Because I just always believed that was something inwardly. I know people see you do it in front of church or whatever, but I just always believed that was like an inward commitment that's personal, that's really personal between you and Yah, right? So he sees the intents of your heart, and you also know what your true intentions are. You think you may, right, until you begin to develop. So, because like Elijah and Jeremiah, oldest two, they've been with us in church, and they were baptized, right? James and I had been baptized, but the four smallest ones hadn't, right? And same thing like with my sister and her like two youngest, right? They hadn't been baptized because it was like we had just like completely walked away from the foolishness of the church. We're like, we're gonna find you on our own. Some people leave the church or whatever and they'll just go to where the world won't even ever pick up the Bible ever again. But I wasn't like that. I literally still was in my Bible every single day praying. Like I was serious when I said that. I'm not finding you here, so I'm look like I'm gonna have to find you on my own. And I literally did. And that's when I began to really consume the scriptures. So as I began to transition to the Hebrew roots and learning about mikvah, right, and their teaching of mikvah or what church calls baptism, they say you don't really do it. From what my understanding, you don't do it in like a standing pool of water. Mom, shalom, you do it in flowing waters, right? Which is to represent like the washing and whatever is there is just flowing down the stream like you're being renewed, right? So I was like, okay, I don't see nothing wrong with baptism for real, you know. I was like, we didn't get baptized in the river, but you know, my heart was good with it. You know, I'm keeping to my vow what I said. Okay, so now that you got that little bit of backstory, let me tell you what we did on why I even brought this up. we were, it was doing a pass. I think it was a Passover season. We were still clearly we were still at the other house. I think Bella's 5 and I think Bella was 3. Yeah, it had been like a couple years because I think we still got pictures of it. Okay. So what happened was we decided, you know what, the smaller children haven't been baptized, and now with our new understanding of everything, how about we just everybody get rebaptized in just the name of Yahuwah alone, right? And so we decided to do that. I think it was kind of cool outside, so we didn't really want to go to a river. Plus, we had small kids, and so we figured we just do it in our bathtubs. And what we did, my house, my mom's house, my sister's house, my sister, um, my baby sister went over to my middle sister. Well, I'm the oldest, and Alicia is the middle sister. My baby sister is Sherry. So Sherry went over to Alicia's house. Me and my children, Elijah and his kids and his wife, they was at my house, and my mom and my aunt was like on speakerphone, and we decided we want to do a baptism. And since we was like all in different places, in different cities and stuff, we would use FaceTime and we just do a baptism. We understood that you should probably be in a river, a place with flowing water, but we didn't really because of the weather, and we wanted to do it now. We just felt like we needed to with our new understanding. So what we did, we everybody filled up their bathtub with water, and we just kind of everybody gathered around. Everybody had their phone on FaceTime so we could see everybody. You just kind of did like a couple worship songs and everything, and then we just baptized in the tub. But here is the amazing thing that happened, right? So I was like, some of these things you can't really throw out the baby with the bathwater because we feel the presence of Yah like really show up, whether it's our Ashar's guardian angels, whoever, they make their presence manifest and we can feel it. And it all, was it 4 houses? I think it was 4. Alicia, my house, my mama house, 3 houses. Well, somebody, I feel like there was a 4th house on the line. But anyway, it was our 3 houses on FaceTime. And as we began to baptize, we didn't do like a whole little sermon. We were just like, Father, what I know understanding, we just want to do this the right way, what we perceive to be what's right. And we just gonna baptize. We ain't look for no preacher, nobody. We just gonna baptize each other, right? And that's what we did. But right before we began baptizing, yo, when I tell you the atmosphere changed, and it felt like, and I was doing like the baptism like the small kids. That's right. It was a 4th house. Chantel's house, my cousin. Yes. Yeah, it was 4 houses. Also, my cousin. She like a sister. My cousin Chantel. She like wherever we go, she there. She like we all grew up together. It's like we brothers and sisters. But our other cousin and her 3 children. And it was like as we began to right before we began to baptize everybody, and also at my sister's house, her oldest daughter, one of her friends was there as well. She said, yeah, she wanted to be a part of it, right? So all of us, all these people on FaceTime doing baptisms in our bathrooms, and everybody at everybody's house felt a presence because when I tell y'all, it was amazing. We could feel the presence. We said, yeah, we could feel the presence or angels or whatever was there with the baptism of every child in that tub. So when I began to read about the baptism, or the not the baptism, the birthrights back here in the book of divinity, and there's angels that show up when it's done, I was like, holy crap. And I immediately thought about when we had did this a few years back, and that presence that showed up when everybody was there, right? Because remember, all the new children had not been baptized yet, right? I'm just like, oh my gosh, and it's like giving me chills now. I gotta pull myself together. But anyway, it was so amazing. And even my sister's oldest daughter, her friend, she felt the presence of Yah come on her so powerfully for like a couple of hours. She was just like out in the presence of Yah was over. She said she never felt nothing like that in her entire life. There was like a complete peace, and she would be in weeping. And the girl even started praying in tongues. Right. I was like, this is amazing. I don't know what happened, but we didn't have to be in the church to do this. This is just like our belief and really wanting to do what's right. And Yah shows up. That's what we thought about at the time. But now I realize that the baptism really means something. It's a part of the birth rights of all those who would serve the great creator. Y'all, it's absolutely amazing. Y'all have got to read the book of divinity. Okay. Let me go back to this. I'd be super excited. Look, this is answering some of these supernatural things I've experienced in my life. So okay, just y'all, it's just super amazing. Super, super amazing. I cannot stress it enough. Okay. Back to verse 7, page 177 in the book of God. Okay. Asha said, I perceive, oh, I'm sorry. Before I finish that, why I even said all of that was because of the last book of, keep messing the name up, the book of Oranothan. It tells us exactly what we should be doing right now in this era, in the Cosmon era. And it also talks about how the different holy books and things. Remember how the Hebrews kept crying out, oh Yah, your Torah is burnt. Even Ezra was crying out, oh Yah, your Torah is burnt. It even addresses why books were burnt. They said, we have a creator who is ever present. And at each time, at each like era in creation, there are certain there. Did I say that right? Each time frame in the world, like different eras, there are certain things that are for that era specifically, right? And the ancients of those days, they take it and they write it down, right? And it should be history for us. Some stuff we should keep to, but some stuff was just for that particular era, and it should be left there. But because the succeeding eras, they take the words of the ancients and they try and stick to all those things that was specific just for that era, it gets us off, and it gets us looking back when we should be looking ahead, because our creator is ever present and he's creating presently what we need for today. It explains it so beautifully back here in this last book. Y'all got to read that too. I read that entire book as well, and that's only 5 chapters. You can get through it in about 15-20 minutes. It may take you an hour if you start highlighting stuff and like, oh my God, like I was. It's amazing. So that gave me a better perspective about where we're going, because I'm like, okay, so all the stuff they're doing, should we be doing some of this stuff now? It's good, I can keep it, we'll roll with it, but I don't want to be doing stuff that's like outdated when we're supposed to be doing something else. So that's my whole mind frame. So that's why I'm looking ahead a lot, just to make sure I can keep everything in proper context. So what we're supposed to be doing today, we taking in the history, and we're going to learn about the shards and the angelic help that helps us, things that's happening today, and all the connections, what we should be keeping, other things that we should just think about, history, good lesson, pull the lesson from it, leave that there. Don't try to copy this. Take the lesson, apply that lesson to today, not with the ceremonies and some of the rites and stuff that they was doing, because that was for then. This is for now. Our creator is called the ever present for a very good reason, because he said, I'm present everywhere in all things all the time, right? Okay. So I end that for that. Let's go back here. Asha said, I perceive that which hath been given me to do, I will do. Behold, I will bestow freedom on all the world, and with my alms bowls go about begging. Heaven must be just, and it is right that I should have the experience of the poor as well as of the rich. How else would I ever become sufficiently wise to be a God in heaven? Yet one thing, O Zarathustra, and I will ask thee no more questions. Thou hast said, I must pray to Ormazd. Now behold, I never prayed in my life. Who will teach me to pray? Uhuamaza said, let thy lips utter thy holiest desires, and let thy soul seek constantly for new expressions, magnifying the wisdom, love, and power of Ormaz, the Creator. Neither shalt thou take a thought in regard to rules of prayer. The rules are for the unlearned. He who inventeth a new prayer to Ormaz every day of his life hath done wisely indeed. For the excuse me, for the glory of prayer is the strengthening of one's own soul to perceive the higher light. Let me read this again. This whole verse, verse 10. No, let me go back. I started verse 8. Yet one thing, O Zarathustra, and I will ask thee no more questions. Thou hast said, I must pray to Ormaz. Now behold, I never prayed in my life. Who will teach me to pray? Ehuamaza said, let thy lips utter thy holiest desires, and let thy soul seek constantly for new expressions, magnifying the wisdom, love, and power of Ormaz, the Creator. Meaning, don't do like the same prayer every day. Get creative. Praise him for something. Talk to him about something new every day. He's the ever present. Boy, this is so good to me, to my soul, deep down in my shanana. Listen, Yahuwah said, let thy lips utter thy holiest desires, and let thy soul seek constantly for new expressions, magnifying the wisdom, love, and power of Ormaz, the Creator. Neither shalt thou take thought in regard to rules of prayer. The rules are for the unlearned. He who inventeth a new prayer to Ormaz every day of his life hath done wisely indeed. For the glory of prayer is the strengthening of one's own soul to perceive the higher light. Prayer is not, you know what? Did I say an opening prayer? Father, forgive us for being heathens. I think I just started running my mouth. Father, we thank you for another day. We thank you for insight and wisdom on our life as we learn the truth. Be with us as you are always the ever present as we learn new truth and apply it to our life daily. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. Neither shalt thou take a thought in regard to rules of prayer. The rules are for the unlearned. He who inventeth a new prayer to Ormaz every day of his life hath done wisely indeed. For the glory of prayer is the strengthening of one's own soul to perceive the higher light. Prayer is not given in order to change the decrees of Ormaz, but to change one's own self for the better. Yet he who repeateth words of a prayer as a parrot repeateth, improveth himself but little. Asha said, if a man think of prayer and use no words, is it well with him? And Huamaza said, it is well with him, but it is better to add words also. It is well for Ormaz to think a universe, but better to create it. To begin to learn creating, hold on, to learn creating, thou shalt use spoken words. The perfection of creating is to have the words bear fruit. Let me read that again. To begin to learn creating, thou shalt use spoken words. I need my highlight for this. Okay. To begin to begin to learn creating, thou shalt use spoken words. The perfection of creating is to have the words bear fruit. He who omitteth words of prayer will in time omit prayer also, and his soul tendeth to barrenness. That is not something we should ever give up, right? That's how we keep our connection to the great creator. I know some people you just kind of you really do. I say I did too. You just kind of, as you're waking up to the truth, you just kind of go through these phases. You want to make sure you're doing what's right. You know, even sometimes while I was going, I didn't say I stopped praying, but I just wanted to. I was just kind of shaking myself free of all religion to where didn't even get down on my knees to pray. I would just say prayers and passing and going like, Father, thank you for another day. You know, my prayer not long today. I'm kind of confused about what's going on down here, but I know that you live to somebody that's greater than me and everybody else. I need some help, please. Sometimes that's what my prayers would be. It really would be till I just kind of kept going. And it's like your faith kind of rekindles a little bit. And you see some things, you begin to ask prayers just for like confirmation of certain things. And then you get a little confirmation here and a little confirmation here. Even things that you may ask inwardly and you get a confirmation outwardly, it blows your mind and it builds your faith by leaps and bounds, knowing that somebody hears you. There is somebody there and who's listening and cares about me, right? I'll read verse 13 again. Oahspe said, "It is well with him, but it is better to add words also. It is well for Oahspe to think universe, but better to create it. To begin to learn creating, thou shalt use spoken words. The perfection of creating is to have the words bear fruit. He who omitteth words of prayer will in time omit prayer also." I need another highlighter for this. Oh, sorry. I want certain things in certain places to stand out in different ways. Because sometimes if you go highlight a whole page, it's like, why you highlight the whole page? You should have just left it all unhighlighted. Because if you highlight the whole thing, it's like leaving it unhighlighted. You still gotta go search for what you was highlighting. So I like to use different ones where I'm highlighting the whole page to bring out different points. Don't ever let prayer go away from you. I'll just say communion with the Creator, right? He who omitteth words of prayer will in time omit prayer also, and his soul tendeth to barrenness. Your soul would tend to barrenness if you stop talking with the great Creator, right? A vain man saith, I have no need to pray. A vain man saith, I have no need to pray. For those of you who've stopped praying, a vain man saith, I have no need to pray. Oahspe knoweth my soul. Why then shall not the field say, I produce no harvest, because Oahspe knoweth my capacity? Let me read it again. A vain man saith, I have no need to pray. Oahspe knoweth my soul. Why then shall not the field say, I produce no harvest, because Oahspe knoweth my capacity? Right? I declare unto thee, O Asha, the secret of all spiritual growth lieth in giving out the Spirit. He who would grow in wisdom must give wisdom. He who would grow in love must give love. He who will grow in power of spirit must give out power of spirit. I need a whole nother color highlighter for that. We'll use purple for that one. Look, let me just get them. Let me just get them ready. I got these new highlighters yesterday. I need to use them. Hold on. I'm gonna read that again, y'all. This is so good. Bear with me. Like, this is my first time reading this with y'all, right? So I'd be super excited about some of this stuff. Let me just start the whole verse over. Verse 14. A man saith, I have no need to pray, Oahspe knoweth my soul. Why then shall not the field say, I produce no harvest, because Oahspe knoweth my capacity? I declare unto thee, O Asha, the secret of all spiritual growth lieth in giving out the Spirit. He who would grow in wisdom must give wisdom. He who would grow in love must give love. He who would grow in power of spirit must give out power of spirit. Bethink thee then, if thou prayest silently, thy power goeth weakly to thy audience. But if thou prayest with words openly, thou givest to thine audience of thy fruit. And for this glory, Oahspe provided thee abundantly. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad I be doing like the little opening prayer and ending prayer. Look, hold on. I gotta highlight this one. I'm sorry, y'all. These words be ministering to my soul deep down in my shanana, y'all. Y'all should have seen me. I feel like the Oahspe is becoming like my next Bible, right? Because when I had the Bible and I was believing it all, like, it was my friend day and night. I kept it with me, right? Until I realized we could have digital Bibles, but I was never, I mean, I didn't hold it in my hand, but even while I was in the military, I kept a little small one in my back pocket. Quiet times, I'm sitting there, man, y'all, that's how hungry and thirsty I was for him before I left the church, and even more so after I left, right? And it's like, I just take it into my quiet time. Like I'm like, y'all, like you are my best friend. Listen. Bethink thee then, if thou prayest silently, thy power goeth weakly to thy audience. But if thou prayest with words openly, thou givest to thine audience of thy fruit. And for this glory, or mass, provided thee abundantly. When thou shalt go with thy bowl to feed the feeble and old and helpless and blind, thou shalt teach them prayer and confessions, and thou shalt absolve them that are depressed because of their sins, that they may rejoice in their own lives. Oh, yeah. And also in the book of divinity, it also talks about the homeless, right? And it talks about there are homeless people who choose to be homeless. Like they choose to be because they don't want to do anything. And even that is recorded about you. And they said, don't allow people to do this because if they pass on in that state, they're gonna be shiftless souls in the realm to come in here doing the same thing. It was kind of funny, but it wasn't funny. And I began to think about different people. Oh my God. Let me know. Because it was too much cursing and I wanted to share something. It's too much cursing in it, but it was super funny to me last night. Somebody that was rolling past. I forget the girl name. But anyway, she do like these fast talking restaurant reviews, and she was doing it while she was driving, and she got stopped at a light, and the stopped at a light there was somebody who was there, a person asking for alms, right? And so she said, well, I'm gonna ignore him. Then she turned around and said, I'm gonna give him something, and so she gave him something, and then as she pulled off, she said, I gave it out of good heart or whatever. And then she looked back, she said, I don't know what she about to go do behind that bush. She said she might be living there, or she could have just got me. And she realized the woman went behind the bush and got a dog. She said she got a whole dog. The way she said it, y'all, it caught me off guard, and I screamed and laughed so hard because it is not saying that woman was playing the game. For some people, they do play that game. Like they be having whole BMWs and Mercedes parked in the parking lot, and they scout which corner they're gonna be on to be a beggar. Like it's been multiple people caught doing this, right? They just get out. That's what they do for a living. They beg for money. They play on people's generosity and their good giving hearts, especially around the holidays. So around the holidays, I become a little like, I don't know, my G. You might have BMW around the corner. I don't know. If I ain't seen you out here in these streets all year, no, you setting up posts around here, and I ain't giving you no money, right? But I be feeling bad because what if you for real just got put out right before Christmas and you really do need money? So I be conflicted about it. So I'm like, you know what? That ain't in my business. Because I have a good heart, I'm gonna go ahead and give. Now, whatever you do with is between you and the Creator yourself. But let it be counted unto me for righteousness because I gave out of a good heart. Although I be thinking like people be trying to play you. Like if I don't know. And sometimes you see people clothed real good, like my G. You look like you in good health and you dress better than me today. You on the corner begging? I ain't getting you no money. But some people have that mindset. I need some help, but I ain't gonna go out here looking all dirty and stuff. I'm gonna be as presentable as I can, be honest. Yo, I need help. So I be thinking, I was like, it could be one of them. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get this money because it's my, I don't know. That ain't my business why they standing on the court. Like I be going through all these things, right? It's crazy. But anyway, it talks about in the book of divinity people who do that, right? And which is why we should help, although we're gonna have poor people, all that, but we should be helping them to get to a better state than where they currently are, even if leading them to resources where they can like get back up on their feet or whatever. Right? It talks about it's beautiful. Y'all just have to read it. Harriet, shalom, shalom. Create a game. Hey. Okay. When thou shalt go with thy bowl to feed the feeble and old and helpless and blind, thou shalt teach them prayer and confessions, and thou shalt absolve them that are depressed because of their sins, and that they may rejoice in their own lives. And that's the end of that chapter. Chapter 15. All right, chapter 16. Where we at? 54 minutes. I might can get through one more chapter. I really want to read too. Hold on, let me see this. Oh, yeah, I can read too because that next chapter is only 6. Okay, so we're gonna read 2 more chapters. Then we definitely gonna be at the hour mark, y'all. Okay, I want my color highlighters. I got a whole bunch of them over here. All right, chapter 16. So Asha, being converted, gave up all all he had on earth and went and lived with the poor, carrying the alms bowl for 1 year, preaching and praying for the poor. And it came to pass at the end of the year, he had 1,000 of followers, and he built altars for them, teaching them to worship the Creator, to restore the mark of circumcision, to be upright before men, to labor for the helpless and distressed, and to do not and to do not and to do not to any and to do not to any man that which they desired not to be done unto themselves. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. The golden rule. Okay. And these people took the name of Zarathustrians in contradistinction from the Parisians. And Parisians has reference number 11, and that says at the bottom, Parisians is spelled little, no, it's spelled the same. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. It's just one less apostrophe mark. Okay. Nevertheless, they were the Ehuan race and the Gons, and because of their religion, they could not own property, neither houses, nor lands, nor cattle, nor beasts of burden. Many of them gave themselves into servitude to the Parsians, but many of them lived on the contributions bought by converts who had great possessions. Oh, I read it like it was some more. But many of them lived on the contributions bought by converts who had great possessions. Now it so turned out that when Asha abdicated the throne, there were many aspirants to his place, and the council of the sun was puzzled to know whom to select that peace might remain in Oahspe. But they finally made Hyacinth king because he was a great warrior, having bestowed to the city's walls and gates more than 10,000 skulls from the refractory tribes adjacent. Hyacinth assumed, assumed the titles of his predecessors, chief of which were King of the Sun, King of Kings, and King of Oahspe, the central city of all the world, and sent his proclamations to the chief cities of Japheth and Shem and Ham, commanding earth, water, and fruit to be sent to him from every place under the sun. And he stipulated certain presents that must be sent to him every year, amongst which were thousands of subjects, slaves. Hyacinth was a man of great learning and had traveled far and near, and he knew the people and lands of the earth, and he knew the different products of the different lands, and the number of peoples in the great cities of the world, and the number of warriors belonging to the different sub kings under him. Besides these things, he knew the stars and their places, and the groups of cows and horses and bulls and bears and lions and fish and serpents, even as they had been taught in the Hierarchian period amongst the ancients. And after serpents is reference letter K, which I'm almost sure is talking about the zodiac here with these animals. But let me see. Reference letter K says 216. Hey girl, hey. Okay, yep. The names of animals allude to groups of stars. See definition of the zodiac, Book of Safa, plates 64, 65, and 67. '64, 65. Plate 64. Is the Ankh or zodiac, which is on page 524. Okay, page 524. Okay, make sure I lose my places. So, okay. Plate 65, it says Aries. The phrase, see also Book of Japheth, appears under this plate in the 1882 edition. This reference was deleted in the 1891 edition since that book does not exist. And so this is plate 65 right here. It's the zodiac Animals. You see it on YouTube? Okay. And I make sure I take a picture of the plates today and post it just in case you don't have it. Oh, wait, that's plate 6. Yeah, plate 65. We need to see plate 64. Plate 64 is 524. What? Oh, it's right there. Okay. Yeah, plate 64 is the Ankh or Zodiac. That looks weird, but okay. This is plate 64. This is plate 65. Okay. So you can see 64. Facebook, YouTube. And this is plate 65. And plate 67, the towel, page 529. It look like the Aries one. It's a little bit different. Right here. Now, like I said, I'm a screenshot of my post someday so you can look at them a little bit better. If you don't have the book. You ain't got the book, get it. Just like you purchased the Bible, probably got like 14, 15, 17, 32 Bibles in your house. Get this. It's only like $30 on Amazon. And they be having sales too. So I be seeing it going up and down from like $27, $24, $30 if you got Prime, right? If not, you probably pay the whole $30. Okay. That was that. Okay, verse 8. Hyacinth said, excuse me, the fate hath made me king of all the world. Hence, it is right that I am king, he said. It is evident because Asha abdicated the throne. That man must have a religion. Bruh, you don't even know you ignorant. Bruh, he's the best king. Hyacinth said, the fate hath made me king of all the world. Hence, it is right that I am king. He said, it is evident because Asha abdicated the throne, that man must have a religion. He said, because I know all the rites and ceremonies of the ancient, I will give man a religion of my own account. Oh, you prideful. You about to come in here and tear down this kingdom. They should all been free. No, they shouldn't have put nobody else. Your best purchase ever, Lindsay. Yo, I'm telling you, definitely the best purchase ever. Look, and this dude got some pride issues going on right here. Let me read this whole verse again. Hyacinth said, the fate hath made me king of all the world. Hence, it is right that I am king. He said, it is evident because Asha abdicated the throne. That man must have a religion. He said, because I know all the rites and ceremonies of the ancients, I will give man a religion of my own account. He said, because Asha commanded the Zarathustrian religion unto far off kingdoms, then are Asha and Zarathustra my enemies. That's where you part ways with the Creator right there, bruh. He said, let my officers arrest Asha and Zarathustra and bring them before me. What? Like, you lucky you stand in the place of the king right now. I will make an example of, I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all don't need to watch movies with me either. I be doing this when I read books. Listen, okay. He said, let my officers arrest Asha and Zarathustra and bring them before me. I will make an example of them. And on the day that Asha was arrested, behold, the year of his carrying the alms bowl was ended. Asha and Hyacinth had known each other for many years. When Asha was before the king, he said, I have nothing in all this world. Why then hast thou arrested me? The king said, because thou gavest away thy possessions, thou art the most dangerous of men. How, Sway? How? The king said, because thou gavest away thy possessions, thou art the most dangerous of men. I have decreed thee to be put to death. Art thou prepared? Asha said, yea, O king, and yet because of our long acquaintance, I ask thee one boon, which is that I may be put to death according to the panic rites which were before the flood. And if perchance it be proved to thee that there is a God with power to release me, and he so doeth it, then shall not thy hand be raised against me. The king said, thy boon is granted. Boon, B-O-O-N. Accordingly, A wheel of Uga was built, and Asha was bound upon it. Ooh, I learned about the Uga a little bit more yesterday too. All I did yesterday was read. Look, so the Uga is a wheel that prophets are tied to test if you were truly a prophet. Bro, bring that wheel today. Like, I would watch this. Everybody that called himself a prophet, put them on the wheel. Put them on the wheel, my G. All them, they be pissing in their pants. Oh, I ain't getting on that wheel. No, I am not a prophet. I'm a farmer. Well, how did you get them? No, because I was in my friend's field. That's how I was not prophesying. I'm a farmer. Matter of fact, I'm a farmer's son, and we live in poverty. All the prophets would be repenting of their sins. I ain't getting on that wheel, bruh. The will is to test if you are a true prophet of the great creator or if you's around here lying to the folk. Look, y'all gotta look up Uga. This book is so good. Look. Okay, hold on. Accordingly, a wheel of Uga was built, and Asha was bound upon it, the king having appointed a guard to watch him till he should die. But because of the king's fear that the test might be tampered with, he caused the Juggernaut, or in the parentheses it has Juggernaut, to be set up in his private piazza with the Uga facing the gate of lions so that his private attendants might also watch. And it says, see plate 8. Plate 8. Uksa or Uga, page 190. It's right here. Here's what I didn't go see. Here's what I didn't look up when I was looking up Uga. I didn't look up the plate. I'm about to show y'all this. We're going to see somebody was placed on the Uga. Everybody going to know who was placed on the Uga, my G. What they look like to y'all? Look like a man hanging on a cross, right? Play 8. Uksa or Uksa, UG-SA or Uga, UH-GA. And it also says see plate 67, Samoan Book of Safa. Okay, let me see. Look at plate 68, 67. Let's find plate 67. Tile. Ooh, we just there. $5.29. $5.29. Maybe that don't go with this. That's cool. It just showed this again. The zodiac change. The animals. Let's play 67. Okay. The towel. Okay, all of this kind of go together. I'm still trying to figure this out. Yes, boo.
I tell you something.
What you need to tell me, Karen?
We're going somewhere.
Are we going somewhere?
Mm.
Yeah, girl, we're gonna go get our mani patties today.
Hey.
Yay! Here, put some of this on your lips. I can't find my new one. All right, there you go. Put this on. Where we at? Hour 9 minutes. We almost done, y'all. Okay. Go and pull you out something away.
Mom.
Oh, yes.
After you're done, you can get the iPad before I can play something.
Yeah, look, go in the bathroom, wash your face, girl. Look, go look at your face in the mirror. Go wash your face, sis. Okay. Okay. See plate 8. Okay. Verse 12. Sorry. I'm good, y'all. Like I really am. I didn't cough at all yesterday. It's because I'm doing all this talking that everything is like, but y'all can tell my voice and stuff. My wind is a lot better. I told y'all I ain't fooling around with trying to kick me. All right. Verse 12. Great was the wailing and crying of the people when it was known that Asha had been decreed to death. The city of Oahspe became as a house of mourning and madness, and it was divided against itself, some for Asha and some for the king. Because Asha was old, and thus in view of the king all day, the king repented but he had no power under the laws to set aside his own decree. And when the sun went down, the king went before Asha, saying, Behold, thou hast been 6 hours on the wheel, and yet thy God hath not come to release thee. This is a great torture, and I weep for thee. If thou wilt before if thou wilt therefore slay thyself with a sword, I will have thee taken down. Asha said, I declare unto thee, O king, I have no pain, whether it be my madness or whether it be the gods favor me. What mattereth it? What mattereth it, since I suffer not? Nor have I a right to slay myself, since I did not create myself alive. Also, when you get to this last book, it talks about those who take people's lives. Listen, I so completely look at this in no, that was in a book of divinity. I think it was in a book of divinity. It talks about how Yah, it says Ormaz back here, but the great creator, great spirit, is the only one who gives life. And because he gives life, death belongs to him. And he said, if anybody interferes with what belongs to the great creator, they become enemies of the great creator because you didn't give that life and you cannot take it away. I take the life at the time I so choose to desire. So if man has any kind of interference with the death of a life that they didn't give, you make yourself an enemy of the creator, right? And you best believe your time is on the countdown. Y'all got to read. Y'all have got to go read this. It gives way more detail about that than what I just gave you, but that was just a good summation of it. Look, y'all got to read it. Go read it, y'all. Listen. I should say, I'm reading verse 14 again. Asha said, I declare unto thee, O king, I have no pain, whether it be my madness or whether it be the gods favor me. What mattereth it, since I suffer not? Nor have I a right to slay myself, since I created not myself alive. Moreover,
Mommy,
yes, baby.
the boys only waste our toothpaste and then bring them toothpaste in our room.
That's fine. We got some more. Moreover, if it be the will of my creator or mine that I die on the wheel, then it is just. If it be not his will, then he I'm sorry. If it be not his will, then will he release me. Therefore, O king, I am content. The king said, This indifference cometh of madness, and thy madness have affected the city of the sun. Have thy way then and die. The king returned into his palace, but on the next morning he came again, making the same proposal and receiving similar answers. And at night he came again, repeating his officer. And at night he came again, repeating his officer, and again being refused, determined to come no more. Yes, baby.
Look.
The rest of that, fool.
I still.
Okay, we'll just leave it. I'll do it. I'll do it. Just go put it back. Act like you didn't even see it. I'll take care of it. Verse 17. Now on the night of the third day, Asha felt the power of Yahuwah Mazda coming upon him, and he said unto the guard, Behold, this night I shall be released. See to it therefore as to whether the throngs are well fastened. For if it so turn out that the Father release me, then will ye stand before the king of accused of conniving at my release. Accordingly, the guard re examined the fastenings and sent word to the king of what Asha had said. And the king replied, Nay, if he be released, then I will know of a truth there is a God, neither shall one man of my guardsmen stand accused. This they told to Asha, and Asha said, I say unto you, not only one shall stand accused, but all of you. And there were of them 100, two being watches of 50 each, but it being the change of watch, they all heard and they laughed in derision. I'm gonna finish this. Listen, something about the Sabbath I also learned yesterday. Talking about the change of watch. Okay, so you got to go ahead. We're gonna get to it, but listen, I learned a little bit something else about the Sabbath and why we should be resting, right? Not just because this is the day and we resting because God created the world in 6 days, and he taking a rest from all his work, like you should be doing. You work 6 days, you go rest on the seventh, right? Let your body. It's a part of it, but here's what it says, right? I think it's not. Is it in the Book of Divinity? I was reading through that. I think it was in a Book of Divinity. Don't quote me, but that I'm gonna go back and find today. But it said, and I'll post it. It says that no, we read it yesterday, and I just hold up. We read it yesterday. That's right. Hold on. Where's the sentence? Hold on. Where we start today? Here we started. Let me read it real quick. We start on page 174. Hold on. Let me keep my spot here real quick. I wanna.
Mom,
Y'all need to
look.
hear this. Yes, Pooh.
Look, I'm putting my feet here. Guess what? Look.
Okay, Pooh. You know those too big.
I can go into them.
Okay, let me keep my spot here. Verse 18. So let's go back. We start on page 174. Yesterday, when we read, we started, I'm not yesterday, Monday. We started at page 164. Did I underline it? I thought I underlined the moon. Hold on. Yes. Okay. Page 167, in chapter 2 of Book of God's Word, verse 17, right? And I thought about it when I was reading it, but think about it until it was the Sabbath yesterday, and the whole verse came back to me. And I was like, oh shoot, wait a minute, let me go back and read this. And I called my sister, listen, verse 17 says in chapter 2 of Book of God's Word, it says, and thou shalt keep holy the 4 moon days. Remember, there are four holy days in each moon cycle, which we have come to know in today's language called the Sabbath, but they're called the 4 holy days of the moon, right? Listen, thou shalt keep holy the 4 moon days, for they are the change of watch of the gods and angels over men. I'll read that one more time. Thou shalt keep holy the 4 moon days, for they are the change of watch of gods and angels over men. Now let me give you, I shared this story with y'all before, but it just kind of just like blossomed in my mind just a little bit yesterday when I thought about this, right? In layman's term, what they're saying is keep your tail at home because your guardian angels, they change and watch right now. They switching. You ain't gonna have no protection. Now, when I thought about this yesterday, I just kind of started laughing. I thought about when we was really doing like a deep dive into the Sabbath, and me and my family was like, okay, we got to do this, and you know, but the kid, my sister's kid, my baby sister's kids, were still in. They were in what they were in middle school, maybe like yeah, ninth and 10th grade. But anyway, they were yeah, like middle school. Or like the ninth grade, they had like a homecoming game. It was a homecoming game, and they went, and it happened to be on a Sabbath, the day that the Sabbath fell. And I was like, well, I ain't gonna say nothing. I'm not the type of person where you know what's this and you ain't what. I ain't doing all that. You know just as well as I do. You can just choose to do it or not, right? So that's on you, right? I ain't gonna be the type of person. Well, I told you so. That ain't me. You know. So what happened was this particular on this particular homecoming, they decided they were gonna leave out the house, right? And they left out. What happens at the homecoming game? Somebody starts shooting at the game. Before we know it, my nieces are calling my sister. They screaming. They had got separated, parted. They out there shooting. I don't remember. I think a couple people got shot. My nieces were okay. The police caught the person who was doing it. Some teenage boy out there had beef with another kid, all that, and they decided to get the shooting at the homecoming game. Foolish. You know how they be doing nowadays. But the first thing that came to me, it is the Sabbath. They should have stayed at home, right? So a lot of times I think about near misses on things we're not paying attention. I think once we become aware of something, I think we're held accountable regardless. But I think once we are really aware of something, I think I don't. How can I say this? how can I say this? Okay, when we do something that we know we shouldn't be doing, it's it I don't know, maybe it carry like a greater punishment or you okay, so if you get shot on the Sabbath because you was out at the shopping mall and they had a whole mass shooter scene or whatever, and you got shot, well, first of all, my G, you knew it was a Sabbath. You should have been at home. You knew your guardian angel was changing watch. You shouldn't have been out the house. Your protection is off for a day, right? Not that it's off, but if you're in your home, it's less likely that you're going to get randomly shot, right? Especially if your home, your life is created to the if your life is dedicated to the creator, then your dwellings and everything that belong to you is kept safe. And if you're in a place of safety during these times, you're kept safe. I don't know, but I want to share this, baby girl.
This you think on the top, and then this one is on the top.
Okay, very good. Go ahead and finish doing what you're doing. Finish getting yourself together, girl. Okay. Yeah, so thou shalt keep holy the 4 moons, for they are the change of watch of the gods and angels over men. Right? So I'm still going through and developing this whole Sabbath thing and getting all the details on why we really should just kind of go chill out, right? And that also tells me, and that's what I said earlier today, when you were giving like guardian angels, because it's not like that they're like, because they need like rest, and I just call it rest and relaxation too, just like we do. Although they're spirits, but they do, like, if you have any kind of military background, you can't stand to watch 24/7 by yourself. You need relief periods. And so that's what happened with our guardian angels. And on the Sabbath is the day that they do their release. They switch out. So you will have a different angel or whatever coming. Like you got like a group of angels that keep watch over you. You call them angels, ashars. This book call them the guardian angels, ashars. And in a lot of places it also refer to them as angels as well. But it's that time of changing out. So you need to go sit your tail down somewhere, just chill out, right? Go to sleep, just go rest, go do something, just chill out, right? Because ain't nobody watching you. Somebody watching you, but they ain't watch you. But if you get hurt, you was already told, listen, sit down right there till I come right back. Don't move, right? And if you move and something happen, then you get a whooping for moving. Didn't I tell you not to move? You wouldn't have got hurt if you had to sit there like I told you to, right? Y'all get it. Okay, let's go back. We almost done. Verse 18. This they told to Asha, and Asha said, I said unto you, not only one shall stand accused, but all of you. And there were of them 100, being 2 watches of 50 each. But it being the change of watch, they all heard and laughed in derision. And behold, in the same moment of time, the thongs fell off, and Ahua Mazda delivered Asha down from the Uga. And the spirit of Ahua Mazda was in Asha, nor was Asha himself, though knowing to the things done through him. So it's like the spirit of Yah. Well, Ahua, oh, remember, okay, let's not get it all chopped and screwed. Ahua Mazda is one of the current ruling gods, right? And the current ruling gods is kind of like the president of the United States, not the great creator, but somebody who's in like one of the highest ranks for the earth. So that's what who a Mazda is, and whatever he speaks comes directly from the creator. Just like we have, like me, I was Navy. I was on an aircraft carrier, so we have the captain of the ship, but under the captain there's a hierarchy. You got lieutenants, you got admirals are higher. So you got like chiefs and lieutenants and ensigns and all of that, and they pass down the message. So if your division chief comes to you and give you the orders for the day for the entire division, it's like, oh, I ain't listening to you. I'm gonna go talk to the captain myself. And he literally stands in proxy for the captain, because we rarely ever saw the captain, right? We saw daily our chiefs and division chiefs and petty officers and stuff that we interacted with, and they got the information from the captain, which passed down through the ranks. But we were to obey those orders just like we would obey the captain. And if you didn't and you got in trouble, then guess who you saw? You saw the captain, and it was called captain's mask. How do I know? I done been to captain's mask twice for being a hard head, right? I told y'all a couple of them stories a couple of times, right? It don't pay to be hard headed. Well, I'm telling you, because they got the power to put you right in front of the captain. Oh, I'm gonna help you see your makeup today, right? Listen, okay. Verse 19, and behold, in that same moment of time, the thongs fell off, and Yahuwah Mazda delivered Asher down from the Uga. And the spirit of Yahuwah Mazda was in Asher, nor was Asher himself, though knowing to the things done through him. Right? So Asher, it looked to everybody else that Asher was doing this himself, but it was the spirit of Yahuwah Mazda, or the current ruling God, that descended upon him and gave him the strength and power to break those thrones off of him, right? So to them, it looked like he had the strength to do it himself. Remember, he's an old, feeble man by this time. And behold, in that same moment of time, the thongs fell off, and Yahuwah Mazda delivered Asher down from the Uga. And the spirit of Yahuwah Mazda was in Asher, nor was Asher himself, though knowing to the things done through him. Yahuwah Mazda said, go ye and say to the king, behold, Asher is delivered by the power of his God. Then the guardsmen said, it is not morning, the king sleepeth. Yahuwah Mazda said, I say unto you, the king sleepeth not, but is joyful with drinking wine with his courtiers. They went in and told the king, finding of a truth he slept not, and the king commanded them to bring Asher before him, which they did. Hyacinth said, what profit have my guardmen in releasing this old man? Behold, Behold, it hath been said that thou, Asher, hadst gold and silver hidden away. I know now of a truth thou hast bribed these guardsmen to set thee free, for which reason every man of these guardsmen shall be put to death, and their skulls mounted on the walls of Oahspe, and their skins tanned for leather. Away with them, ye marshals, bind them till the rising sun, and at that hour hew off their heads, as I have decreed. And now, as for thee, thou old hypocrite and destroyer of liberty, what sayest thou? Asher said, according to thy promise, I should now be free. There was no stipulation in thy decree that I should not bribe thy guardsmen. Behold, then, my wisdom. Have I not revealed to thee that thou cannot trust any man? The king said, thou art the wisest of men. I had hoped to hear thee say, thy God released thee, and I had here 12 swordsmen to hew off thy head. But because thou hast shown me great craft, thou shalt live for a season, but only on condition that thou shalt leave Oahspe and never return. Then spake Mazda through Asher, saying, thou hast decreed the guardsmen to death at sunrise. Now I declare unto thee, O king, not one of them shall die as thou hast decreed, but I, Mazda, will deliver them. Think not that I am Asher. I am not Asher, but a spirit, the God of the Ehuans. Neither will I spirit away thy guardsmen by a miracle, but by natural means, and will I show thee that I am mightier than all kings. The king said, it cannot be that there are gods or spirits. Is man's judgment nothing? These things were suited to the dark ages. They have frightened men to justice and so far serve the purpose. But in this enlightening age, man shall know justice and wisdom of himself. Whilst the king yet spake, Yahuwah Mazda caused the attending spirits to assume mortal form by the curtains of Arizi, back of the king, and they made a noise, so that the king turned and looked, and lo and behold, he saw them. He feared, not knowing, but they were all evil persons concealed, and he said, robbers, murderers, and he drew his sword and thrust at them, but they vanished. He said, verily, thou art a devil, O Asher. And he thrust his sword at Asher, but it fell from the handle. And he said, ye fates, kill him, kill him. And whilst he was thus puzzled, Asher walked forth out of the palace, nor would the king's guards lay hands on him. And that was the end of chapter 16. I said we was going to read 17. Let's go ahead and read it real quick because it's only 6 verses. All right, chapter 17. When Asher went away from the king's palace, Zarathustra met him, and they went together to the prison where the guardsmen were confined. Prior to execution on the morrow at sunrise, and there came 400 of the converts of Asher, and when they stood around about the prison, Zarathustra said unto them, stand ye in the altar, crescent of the living God, for his power is upon me, and I will deliver this prison. And the keeper of the prison and also his attendants woke up and came with spears, saying, Disperse, disperse, or by the king of the sun ye shall die. Zarathustra said, Art thou greater than Ahura Mazda? Thrust then the spear against my breast. The keeper did so. Thy size is nothing to me, thou boaster. But lo, the shaft was broken in 1,000 pieces, neither touched the blade against his garments. Seeing which the other spearsmen feared, and Zarathustra walked up to them and took their spears from them. And the Zarathustrians stood in the form of a living altar, and Zarathustra laid his hands against the front wall of the prison, saying, In thy wisdom and power, O Ahura Mazda, deliver thou this prison. And behold, the front wall opened as a door, and the prisoners came out unharmed. Unharmed. Last two verses. Zarathustra said, On the morrow the king will decree death on the morrow, the king will decree to death every faithist within the city. Go ye therefore whilst it is still yet night, and command all my people to rise at once and depart out of the city, and I will lead them to a place of safety. So that same night the faithists fled beyond the walls. And it came to pass on the next day, when the king heard what had transpired in regard to the prison, he decreed death every hold on, let me finish this. I'm on the last verse. And it came to pass that on the next day, when the king heard what had transpired in regard to the prison, he decreed to death every Zarathustrian found within the city, even as prophesied by Zarathustra. But they were already gone and were in the forest of goats. And there of them 4,630 men, women, and children. And that, my beautiful people, is where we will pause today on page 182. This is so good, y'all. This is so, so good. I hope y'all enjoying it as much as I am. Like my whole surprise looks and I'm like in full character because I'm experiencing it just like y'all. You know how people do videos and they sit and watch something for the first time so they can get so you can see their facial expressions like when people watch something for the first time. That's what I'm giving because this is my first time going through here. Now, when we get to some of the books that I didn't already kind of jumped ahead and read to, I'm gonna still be just as excited. Okay, y'all, but that's it for today. Oh man, some days I wish we could just read for like 2 hours, but during the week we can't do that during the week. We can't do it during the week. And although I do be going over the time during the week sometime, I'm sorry. Okay. All right, y'all. But that's it for today. It is Wednesday, June the 22nd, 2022, day 139 of year 4, reading through the books of the Law and the Prophets. Another 4-year consecutive day count, day 1157. We read pages 174 through 182 in the Oahspe, the book of God's Word. All right, y'all. Go ahead and read ahead the book of divinity, the book of Orin. I keep messing that name up. Orin, the new, hold on. Oranothin. Aranothin. It's spelled Ouranothen. Aranothin. The book of Aranothin. I think that's how you pronounce it. Yes, babe.
This bird and the squirrel know where we are.
They know where we are?
Yes.
They probably do, sis.
I'm going to car.
That's fine. They waiting for us to come out. They follow us wherever we go.
They just want to come everywhere with us.
They do. They just want to come everywhere with us. Okay, that's it for today. We done. May y'all continue to bless all of you in your search for truth. And as you get it, apply it to your life and walk in it, y'all. It's so beautiful. It's amazing. Allow all the dead stuff, all the falsities to when they start coming up, rising up, deal with it and put it away, right? Take it out. You got to get rid of all the what you want to call it? All of the weeds. You got to get rid of all the weeds, right? You got to tend to your garden so beautiful things can grow, right? You got ripe and you got unripe. We don't want to be unripe. We want to keep developing and growing and tending to our own lives, our own garden, so that we can blossom beautifully, right? And give out some of this beauty, because when we give it out, we get more from the great creator, right? It's like the prayers said openly, right? Everybody can benefit.
Ready, mommy?
All right. But anyway, with that being said, I love y'all. And I'll see y'all back here tomorrow morning, bright and early, 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace. What? What did you flip it?
Yes.
How did that even happen? You didn't even, I don't know. Hit the
I
button again.
flipped it.
You didn't even touch down there. Hit finish. Oh.
That I did this. Flipped it for you can't see.
Oh. Okay, girl. All right. Hit never delete. Yep. Post now.
Well, I would, Mom. Like when I grow up, I wanna. What's my daughter's name again? When I grow up.
What you tell me your daughter's name was gonna be when you grow up? Chloe.
No.
What? I thought you said you were gonna name her Chloe.
No, I call her Chelsea.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry, Chelsea. Okay, yeah. What you say you was gonna name your son? She said she was gonna name her son Jeremiah's second name. I said, so what? She said, when I grow up, I'm gonna have a daughter. She said, no, when I grow up, I'm gonna have a daughter and a son. I said, okay, what their name's gonna be? And she gave the names. I said, what's your name? She said her daughter's name was gonna be Chelsea. I said, what's your son name gonna be? She said, what's Jeremiah's second name? I said, David. She said, David. My son's name is gonna be David. I'm like, okay, so I be keeping notes about everything. I'm gonna see in quite a few years after she get married and have children. I'm gonna be looking for Chelsea and David. All right, y'all.
And Mom,
Girl, go ahead and end this video so people can go.
And Mom, I call my dog Cookie.
And call your dog. You gonna name your dog after me? Why couldn't I get a child's name? You gonna name me out? You gonna name a dog? Oh, boy, that's what you think of me. Girl, in this video, she said she was gonna name her dog.